Mel everybody, oops, mess up the music here. Mel everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm gonna do a surprise live stream. I haven't done one for a while. I figure I'll do one for a Red Day like today. Yeah, a little bit of a surprise. Actually, let me go ahead and send the link over to folks over at on X to see if they want to come on over and get shareable link and see whether or not we can get them to come on over and join us. Let's see here. Hope everybody's doing okay. Impromptu live stream on YouTube. Here it goes. So I'm gonna have in addition to this random live stream that just kind of came on. Hey Dan, in addition to this random live stream that just came on just now, just because I want to do one because I love Red Days. I just want to talk about it. Look at my own accounts down a few percent. Yeah, it's down a few percent. Big deal, right? I'm gonna get something to drink. Actually, I'm like my throat's still a little dry. I'll be right back. Hey, sorry about that. I'm back. So yeah, the whole thing is see my own portfolio up a few percent, down a few percent. A lot of volatility here. It happens whenever my number one stock position, like Palantir, just gone down, just keep going down day after day after day. And yeah, it sucks to own a position that's gone up a lot and finally go down a lot. It's okay. I just want to do a little bit of more like a overview here in terms of stock market, in terms of everything else. Yeah, low gains are done for. Vivian, welcome as always. Monthly chart here for the S&P 500. Are we topping? There's no indication that there's the case. If you're looking at the RSI, currently I'm still seeing a breakout and a back test of the RSI here on the monthly. This looks very, very beautiful. If you're saying, yeah, we've been just going up on like bearish diversions, I guess you can say that, but like honestly, the S&P 500 goes up on bearish diversions for like decades, so that none of that really matters to me. Had a bullish cross here. It still looks like it wants to keep going up higher. We are a little bit too overextended from the tank, and at some point we might need to come back test here a little bit, but it can just keep on going up a lot higher. Here, that August scare, like that whatever yen carry trade thing, all it did is just basically back test the tank in here. Um, Everything's fine. I don't really see anything concerning. Bull market can just keep riding up along the tank in here for years and years and years. There's no reason to really believe that. Oops, where's my chart? There's no reason really to believe that this is the top, with the exception of people telling you that it could be. Matter of fact, actually, seeing evidence that to be quite the contrary here. S&P 500 didn't really do too much. QQQ didn't really do too much either. It's got a little bit of like these double wick up here above, but it's still stuck in the range between 1.4 and 4, 1.618. Actually, I don't know why it keeps on messing up with my fib levels here, top and bottom. There you go. It's stuck between 1.618, 1.4, and 4. Got rechecked at 1.618. It's just consolidating sideways here. A little bit too far away from the tank, and it's no big deal. I'm not seeing any bearish divergence here in the monthly at all. IWM, this thing has been cruel, right? It looks like it wants to break out in November. It just hasn't. Came back down, give a little bit of a false hope here in January so far. It's just stuck between the 0.786 and the 0.86. Once it breaks above 0.86, that's when things really get fun, right? Not a false breakout like this, but a true breakout. That's when things get really fun, right? Hasn't really happened quite just yet. Do I see any bearish diversions? No, I don't. What do I see right now? Price just basically riding up the tankin right here, right? It's been a very, very healthy bull market. It's not overextended at all. every single time it wants to get overextended, it just gets pulled right back down, right? So overall, the higher time frame, I'm not really seeing anything bad. ARK funds actually looking extremely bullish still. You do have a little bit of a trees of top looking thing here, but this is a monthly chart. We're only in January 7th right now. So we have a long time to kind of go. Hi, Matt. Welcome. So we have a little bit of a ways to go. I don't think this turn would necessarily turn. I actually think January actually set up to be a pretty decent month. I'll show you why that here in a second a little bit. But yeah, I think that this trees atop probably won't necessarily work out because we still have a whole month to really get this candle to continue just kind of go up higher. I do think that right now we're closing a month last month about the 0.382. If we're able to close this one about 0.382, I think things are going to get pretty bullish moving forward. I think it's probably going to end up challenging the cloud up here by Q2 of 2025, and that means that a lot of these speculative stocks is going to end up just keep going higher over time. Going back to, I want to talk a little bit more about the IWM. The reason why I want to talk a little IWM is because a lot of stocks basically are looking the same, excepting if you look at the daily chart over here. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to pull up. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the 20-day moving average. This is the IWM. It had a hard time breaking above the 20-day moving average after this big giant breakdown underneath, right? Yeah, it's consolidating sideways over here. You can call this a bear flag, but it's just basically consolidating sideways over here, trying to correct this downward move here. And we have a hard time breaking above because it's negative sloping, right? Well, guess what's happening right now across the board? I'm going to show you a lot of crypto stocks, if you will, the ones that I care about, right? Let's talk about MSTR. Yeah, breaking down underneath the 20-day here. Let's look at Coinbase. Coinbase is doing the same thing. Got rejected a negative sloping 20-day moving average. The 2x version of CoinL, which I have, doing the same thing. CleanSpark doing the same thing. Mara doing the same thing, essentially. Bitfarms doing the same thing, right? Cypher doing the same thing, right? Iron doing the same thing. Wolf doing the same thing. BTBT doing the same thing. Course Light doing the same thing. Riot is not. Riot is actually one of the more bullish thing over here in terms of the 20-day moving average. It actually got above the 20-day moving average, is staying above, right? HUD 8 is actually looking pretty decent, right? Hive doing the same thing, right? BitDeer, it's actually not that bad. Like, it's a negative 14% day, but it's actually not that bad. Look at this chart here, is actually just consolidating upwards. Anyway, all I'm trying to show you, okay, Tesla doing the same thing. It's like, okay, so everything is really following IWM as far as I'm concerned, especially when it comes to like the crypto sector. With that said, I think what was my point? I completely forgot my point. My point is I'm not that scared. I'm going to look at my big four, my big three stocks here because a lot of attention has been paid to them, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the more speculative stuff here. Do I see any support here at IWM? We're at support right now. We are at support on the higher time frame, and I know you might hate me talking about higher time frame because higher time frame means just squat when it can be like huge volatility with high time frame, right? You have to stomach the high time frame volatility for me to talk about higher time frame support. We're at kind of support level over here. You're basically lingering around the boom support band. It's just consolidating sideways over here. You got all these wicks down here below. You got demand zone down here underneath. And you also have every single time when you kind of wick underneath of that or get underneath of that, you usually bounce back because it's relatively positive sloping, right? Here. And if you're also looking at the, let me see, if I put the Ichimoku, you see that the kitchen over here as a support is stuck in a range. It usually does that before it breaks out. Like, I'm not really that concerned about it. If you also look into monthly, and monthly is really more of a telltale sign. It's just right at a rising tank in here. Like, there's plenty of room to go down to like 218, 219, and still be a lot of support here. There's really not much of a concern there. 20-month moving average is way underneath over here. I don't think it needs it to find support, But I think the key is really between the um, the monthly Tenkan over here, which is rising, by the way. I think it's going to help push price up higher over time. And it's all those 0.786, right? You're right around like 218, 219, 217. It's going to be a really strong support zone here, and until it's being proven otherwise, right? Um, but yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the other stocks here. The big one is NVIDIA. All these wicks above, are we topping? Is this going to be the end of NVIDIA? We're dropping like 6% today. Like, what the heck is going on, right? NVIDIA has done absolutely nothing for ages now. Like, it has done absolutely nothing for a very, very long time, almost for like half a year. And you got like a bearish engulfing candle. Like, what the heck is going on? Is this bearish engulfing candle on high volume? Yeah, it is. Oh my god, this is, But if you just zoom out here, if you look at the weekly, there's a big demand zone down here below. You can see like all these wicks here. There's a very nice hammer here. You have a bullish kicker that push, like bullish engulfing kicker push up above. You have a little bit of a bearish candle here so far for the week. It's just kind of getting halfway to this bullish candle here. So far, there's really nothing really that concerning or scary with NVIDIA. It basically just backtests support band. Looks like it wants to keep going up higher, right? This is a market leading stock, right? So and guess what it's doing right now in the Ichimoku? It's basically just backtesting the Tenkan over here. After breakout above the Tenkan, the blue line is backtesting it right now almost perfectly today, right? Almost perfectly, almost perfectly, almost perfectly today, right? I mean, I can keep zooming in, but you get the point. Um, I think that this is telling me it's okay. Oh no, it's down 6.18%. That sucks. Good thing is that support, right? If support's broken, does it mean that it's going to an end? No, I mean you still got plenty of support down below. It would suck to go from 140 to like 133, but that's the thing, right? I don't really care about the volatility because I'm not trying to trade these moves. I'm trying to look at a higher time frame picture here. The higher time frame picture is telling me that is broken above this arc up here, and it looks like it might end up graphening up towards the horizontal line up here around 350, right? I posted this on X. It might end up just pushing up like it did over here, right? After it got stuck here at the arc for about 7 months, gel break, push up, right? Are you going to have some consolidation here? Yeah, you can. No big deal. Does it end up having to go all the way up here? No, it can prematurely end around the 200s. I think it's entirely possible. But right now, at least per Gann theory, breaking above the arc here, horizontal, right? Breaking above the horizontal, going to the arc, right? That's kind of how NVIDIA has been working throughout time from arc to arc. Here, you would imagine it just push all the way up to the arc. It didn't end up doing that, backtest the horizontal here, and then it just ended up going to the next arc. And throughout history, that's what NVIDIA tends to want to do. If you're also looking at the Bollinger Band, I can see the Bollinger Band is contracting. It really tells you that this big giant bull trend, parabolic bull trend, is exhausting, is very exhausting. Doesn't mean that it's not just going to end here. I think this area over here, this whole cycle over here looks very similar to 2016, 2017, 2018 cycle. I think the area that we're experiencing over here may be very similar to this area over here, right? So I think there's still room to go up here a little bit, maybe 2x, maybe 3x. I don't know. But I don't think the cycle is over yet. The Bollinger Band has not yet really gotten that much closer to price yet. It's still a little bit further away. Granted, it doesn't have to get that close to it before the cycle ends. Here, it didn't really get that close to it before cycle ends, right? But I still think that there's some juice left based on Gann, based on Bollinger Bands. And also, with the RSI too, you can see that there's a little bit exhausted in trend. You can see that, but it can keep on getting exhausted for like another year or so. I think we might still have some time here for NVIDIA. Move as DOGE. Yeah, it's just keep on sucking. What can I say? On a day-to-day basis, it is what it is, I guess. But I'm still relatively bullish here because I'm dumb. If you're also looking at the semiconductor space here overall, this SMH, you can see what it's doing exactly. It's trying to break about this arc up here. It's been stuck underneath this arc with like AMD TSM, Broadcom, all this stuff that's just done nothing. It's just stuck in a range here inside of ARK here for months number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And right now we got rejected right at the ARK over there. We got rejected over here as 2.618 here. It's building a lot of energy. It's forming a bull flag, right? What is it going to do next? If NVIDIA has already broken out of this ARK, well, it might end up just keep pushing up higher. It might end the cycle up here around 3.618 or maybe a little bit higher. Do I think it's going to go up to the ARK here? I don't know. If NVIDIA has enough energy to potentially push up to like 350, maybe the whole semiconductor stock space, including AMD, might end up jailbreaking and go a lot higher too. Maybe it can, doubling from here. I don't know. Or maybe it ends just sucking from here. It just breaks down and goes all the way down here. That's always a possibility, but it's consolidating sideways. When it's consolidating sideways, you favor the continuation of the primary trend, which is bullish, right? Talking about the other big stock here, I cannot talk about today without talking about Palantir. Do I only look at TA when I look at stocks? I look at stocks based on whether or not they have a good business model. But I don't verbalize these things very often, actually. Like I'm trying not to, and I also learned my lesson just like a lot of folks. I try not to get into bad business models, except for one thing, which I'll talk about there in a little bit. I don't try to get into bad business models, unless if their technicals just look really good. Like there are a few things that I'm getting into that like I'm actually not believing in their fundamentals at all, but I am playing with the technicals. But the big position like Palantir, Tesla, NVIDIA, Shopify, SoFi, even Affirm, like I actually believe in their business model. I actually do follow their numbers a little bit. I just don't verbalize it very often because a lot of times the numbers lag, like the earnings stuff, all the stuff lag, and you want to try to use technicals to try and get ahead of it because whales do things behind the scene and they show up on technicals. So that's why I like to focus on technicals, and not because I like to draw lines or care about curves or do any of that. I don't really care about any of that, except if they tell you a story, except if they tell you what the whales are doing. That's when I care. Palantir, should you be scared? I guess so. I mean, a lot of people are calling for tops here, which makes it actually a little bit unlikely for it to be a top. It's completely normal for a stock once it breaks about the 0.786 to hit the 1.618 level. And usually 1.618 level here serves a little bit as a resistance. It didn't really end up doing that for Palantir. It looks like it's just back testing it as support here a little bit, right? $69, the Great Matsby's favorite number. It looks like it wants to back test there a little bit. And I still think that if tomorrow we probably end up touching it. I don't think we're going to get away with like holding 70 when $69 is right there again. Like, Great Matsby would be mad if 69 doesn't get tagged. So, yeah, so I would say that it probably will end up tagging here. Is that bearish? Well, not necessarily. You have the Bollinger Band on the monthly here. This is extremely bullish stock. The upper Bollinger Band is pointing up. The lower Bollinger Band is pointing all the way down. This is a very bullish trend. If you bet against a very bullish monthly trend, just right around 1.618, you may, and on the linear scale, you may end up selling a little bit too early. I don't know. If I do a log scale here, yeah, it's hovering around the 1.236. I actually think it's got rejected here at 1.272. Yeah, got rejected here at 1.272 here. And it's trying to basically find some support down here below. I think it's just simply way outside the upper Bollinger Band, and it needed to touch it to kind of hang out around here a little bit before further bullish continuation, so it's not as overextended. There are a lot of Bollinger Band traders that are going to look for these kind of overextension to try to short or try to trade. You're going to run into some problems here. and it's trying to solve its own problem right now by trying to get down closer to the Bollinger Band. It doesn't have to touch it, because what's going to happen is even if it got close to $69, currently right now it's 67. It was a lot higher when price was higher, right? Because the Bollinger Band takes into account the standard deviation in terms of where price is up or down. It can even just go down to $69 and say, oh, we tagged the 1.628 here on the linear scale. I'm just going to go way up. And the upper Bollinger Band is going to get dragged up along with it, and it's going to touch that wick. And that would make this not an overextended chart anymore. Well, it's still overextended, but it would make it less overextended. I think that this is necessary. And this is necessary for people to call a top. And you want people to call a top. And you want people to short it. You want retail to sell the stock. But the whales are not selling. Like I don't know why people are like fascinated to call tops. It's certainly, I would, if this is a parabolic downtrend, I would not call a bottom here. I would not call a bottom here. Anyway, Tesla. Before I get to Tesla, there's a question about whether or not TA is a self-fulfilling prophecy, algorithmic driven, etc., etc. I think there are a few things. Thing number one is that the whole idea about doing technical analysis is not trying to draw sticks and lines. If you're just trying to draw sticks and lines, you're probably doing it wrong. The whole point of technical analysis is trying to figure out what the big money institution and whales are trying to do behind the scene. That's really what we're trying to strive for here, because they're not going to tell you upfront what they're doing. They're gonna lie to your face. They're gonna tell you we're gonna do this. This is getting pretty scary. The economic hurricane is coming in 2022 in June, and they're gonna tell you all of these crap, and you're gonna listen and buy into all this crap, and you're gonna listen to Meet Kevin, and he's going to follow these narrative stories, and he's going to flip his head around. He's going to flip your head around twice, because it makes no sense at all whatsoever, right? There is no trend. Where is the trend? What are the big money doing? The big money is doing something when it's developing a trend in the price action, and they can be hidden under volume. They can be hidden under different whale indicators, and they can be potentially discovered based on their intentions. That's thing number one. Thing number two, why technical analysis works, is exactly what you said. It's definitely a self-fulfilling prophecy, because traders use it. So I don't know if you're like ever read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It's like one of those Ming Dynasty classics, like the big four classics, right? The big one, Romance of Three Kingdoms, they're talking about warring, three kingdoms warring against one another. All these different strategies. There's like all these, how do you say that, military strategies that everybody knows. And then like somebody is like, oh, you're going to use this military strategy. Well, if I use that, he's smarter than I am. He's going to know that I'm using it. So there's a lot of these like battle things. That's why like a lot of times these technical analysis points, things like that, they work, because a lot of people are trying to set up different algorithms. They sell, they buy at certain levels based on all these things. And then on top of that, they also trying to look at what like retail traders are doing. They're trying to screw you over. They're trying to keep you like these false breakout and false breakdown all the time, right? So there's a lot of like kind of playing chess here. If a lot of people are calling for one thing, it might not necessarily work out. Yeah, right. Yeah. If there's a lot of things that people are calling a lot of things, it might not necessarily work out. If a lot of people are not looking at certain things, or they're in such big bad despair, sometimes the bad technicals that look like it's going to keep breaking down, it may not necessarily work out either, right? So the whole idea about technical analysis is, yes, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it also is a way to kind of capture what the whales could potentially be doing. I would almost venture, like some people also say, oh, these Fibonacci sequence, things like that, they happen in nature. These are human behavior. That's also a possibility. Human behavior certainly follow trend, and they certainly follow like certain numbers. Certain numbers are more important to them than others. So maybe that's also why as well. But anyway, then talking about that Tesla, Bollinger Band, it touched the upper Bollinger Band here on the monthly here. So I don't really think that it has to go down that much further, right? I just don't really see that necessarily have to happen anymore. It's a little bit of overextend away from the tank, and sure, that's why it's consolidating sideways here a little bit. But next thing you know, you just have to have big giant green candle. Next thing you know, the tank is just going to get dragged along up along with it. It's consolidated sideways here for like 3 years. It's trying to break over the previous all-time high zone, having a little bit of a hard time doing it. But the trend is very bullish. Like, I'm not buying anymore because I've been buying underneath 200, but I don't care about the details here. Like, it can go all the way from 200, like 485, all the way down to like 370, and I really don't care. I really don't care. And that's the kind of mentality that I've developed because I look at trend. And because I look at trend, I know what the potential volatility could be. Um, then I accept I accept what I'm in, right? It's a very nice bull flag. Like, I don't know why people are scared about it. You have to determine whether or not you're an investor or you're a trader. Nobody can tell you that. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you must do this, you must do that." Not necessarily. I don't care what you do. I'm gonna do me, right? I think that between Palantir and I think between Tesla, the candle's not gonna be as red as it is today. I think by the end of this week. Tomorrow the market closes too, so that probably gets a lot of people scared, and maybe that's why they're no, actually tomorrow market is not closed. Thursday's market is closed. So this is a little bit of a short week. So that might get a lot of people scared here. But it's only 2 trading days. It's right on top of a rising Tenkan here. Right now, Tenkan is around 398.88. I think that ultimately is probably end up getting supported. I think this is probably going to end up being a wick here because whenever you have you have a support level that's like rising real fast, generally starts as a pretty decent support. When you have a support level that is like flat, that's like I don't know if it's going to hold. It could break down underneath of it. And when you have a support level that's like downward sloping, that just usually doesn't hold. So right now it's pointing up. I think that there's a good chance that the momentum is still pointing up, and I think Tesla probably end up holding the Tenkan here from the Ichimoku cloud here, the blue line here as support by the end of the week. We'll see. Same thing I think is happening with Palantir. You can see how Tenkan is basically grabbing, or it's like sticking up here to the candle's butt right here, right? Right now the Tenkan is $71.66. I think there's a good chance that it tags $69, make Great Mass be happy, and it just closes the week above $71.66 is my best estimation of what I think Palantir is going to end up doing. Um, if you're asking me for like target cycle top and things like that, I've made other videos. I don't really do price targets that much. I look at trend, and trend is your friend. Sometimes price target can come up when trend is start to change, but I just see both Palantir. I see NVIDIA, and I made the video about this too. I see NVIDIA, and these are the big 3 stocks that most people should pay attention to. I see NVIDIA being late cycle because the Bollinger Band is coming back up from the ground, right? I see Palantir as mid cycle because I see the Bollinger Band is all the way down to the ground and is still going down. This is mid cycle, right? And I see Tesla as early cycle because the Bollinger Band is just starting to get expanded here. There's a good chance that the upper and lower Bollinger Band would continue to expand. There's a good chance that this morphology here would continue to bring the Bollinger Band all the way down to the ground, to the negatives, if we continue to have some pretty impulsive price action here, which it looks like Tesla is trying to do. That is really it, guys. Let's talk about a couple other ones here. Why do we need to close to Mario to honor president? Why do we do a lot of things that we do? I don't know. 而家跟 cat 個隕石食粥食飯靠你，哇！好大壓力喎你，好大壓力 Okay, 唔講廣東話啦. I'm going to go back to English here real quick. And yeah, MicroStrategy, what's going on with you? Okay, you're just a little bit too far above the upper Bollinger Band here. You're just trying to get a little bit underneath the upper Bollinger Band. No problem. You do you. That's okay. I get you. You don't want to be overextended. You were overextended when you went all the way up to the sky here. You went all the way up to the 1.618 here, got rejected, couldn't really quite touch the arc up here. And you just came back down here. Where you at right now? Where you at right now? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, you had a little bit of a false breakdown underneath the 1.414. You got everybody all scared, touched again horizontal here. And now you're pushing back above the 1.414. You sneaky MicroStrategy. You sneaky MicroStrategy. All right. Bull flag, right? Do I care that price has dropped 50% from $542 to like $280? I don't care. Look at this stock. I don't care. Does it look like it's the end? Does it look like MicroStrategy's topping just because it dropped 50%? Like some people are out there saying that it is because things drop 50%, they must go down further. No, not necessarily. You're talking about extremely volatile stock like MicroStrategy. Like it's you just yeah. Anyway. Ishimoku Cloud, are we in trouble? Nah, the tank indication still a support, right? Last time we were in trouble, it was resistance. It's been support here, so it went higher. It's support here, that's why probably gonna end up going higher. Inside candle here so far, boring. Consolidation, boring. Where's it gonna go next? I don't know. It might end up. It's stuck in a range right now. I might end up kind of consolidating sideways here even longer, but it doesn't have to. I think this consolidation over here is enough. I think Bitcoin's actually looking pretty decent, to be honest with you, even though everybody's like super scared about what Bitcoin did today. I'm actually not that scared. Coinbase, look at a weekly. Am I bullish or bearish on Coinbase? Extremely bullish. Why am I extremely bullish? Because it is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It is basically just pushing from arc to arc to arc to arc and backtest arc, right? And on top of that, you're looking at the FIB levels here. Whenever stocks break about the 0.786 level and backtesting the 0.786 level, oh yeah. Oh yeah. On top of that, you also look at Bull support band, right? There's a confluence zone support here. Bottom of the arc, 0.786, and a rising Bull support band. Very nice hammer candle here. Oh yeah. I love it. I love it. Do I get scared about today? What was it doing so far today? Well, kind of a little bit closer to the arc here. I don't really care. Whatever. I mean, it's just building a solid base here. Just do its thing. It's gonna do its thing because it's gonna do its thing. Cornell, am I scared about Cornell? No, not really. Big confluence zone support over here too. If I put the Bull support band, you can also see it's right there. Breakthrough, back test. Breakthrough to 1.2236. Right. Couldn't hold a 1.414. Came back down. Back test a very confluent zone support here at the arc, at the 45-degree angle, and at the Bull support band. It's holding. I'm very bullish. I don't know. I don't know anything though, so don't listen to me. Yeah. Going to the monthly here. Let me see. Yeah, CoinL is weird on the monthly. Going to the monthly here, what is coin doing? I mean, I think it's got plenty of room to go up to touch the upper Bollinger Band. Upper Bollinger Band is expanding. This is a bull trend. I'm not concerned. I can finish talking about miners, but like I honestly just think that they're doing their. I already just nothing's changed since the last time I talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. Like honestly, I made a video. I think just a few days ago. Nothing's changed, right? Looking at Clean Spark, I'll talk about it real quick. Clean Spark, bonus support band, rejected here. Expected, right? I was drawing on X of fractal here. I think this is basically a smaller version. Let me get rid of the Bollinger Band here. I think this is a smaller version, a bigger version of the smaller version over here. It's a head and shoulder continuation pattern. It's a head and shoulder potentially continuation pattern. Why do I think they're similar? Well, because they're pushing through an arc here, got rejected, came back to the arc down below, finding support here at the angle and the arc. hovering underneath the bonus support band. Bonus support band eventually became flat enough for you to push back through, and you break through and you break to the arcs number 1, 2, and 3, right? Here, what is it doing right now? Well, rejected here, came back down to the band, pushed through 2 arcs here, rejected here, came back test the arc over here. It's doing the exact same thing as doing over here. Hovering underneath the bonus support band here for a little bit. Had a little bit of a false breakout here like it did over here. Came back down, kind of like it did over here. Back test the arc here, make sure it's okay. Went a shot here to angle here a little bit, make sure it's okay. And right now you're challenging the bonus support band here again. So yeah, so everything is supposed to be where it's supposed to be. Why did miners just not just push through? Well, is it resistance, right? At the angle, at the arc, not the arc, at the angle, the horizontal, and at the bonus support band here. That's resistance. Sorry, I had to cough a little bit and drink some water sometimes. But yeah, it's a resistance, so it probably just need to work out as crap. Mara, is Mara in trouble? No, not really. What is it doing? Why is it not going up? Well, it's stuck underneath the weekly Ichimoku here temporarily. But I think the trend has just been oscillating over here. Like I don't think the Ichimoku here is going to be that bad of resistance here. And I think that there are a lot of things that are going for it. I was talking about on X too, and all these I do all these things on X. I'm just going to talk live stream here. I was doing like the volume weighted average price or VVOP from the cycle high as well as the cycle low, and you can see that there's a confluent zone of support right around here, which is probably why I end up finding support there. Right now, it's also kind of hovering around the bonus support band. Right, so it's a big consolidation zone over here. A lot of things have been happening here for the entire year. It's a little bit trendless here for in the entire year, but you've also looking at a higher time frame here. We get rid of all this crap, and delete the VVOPs here. And if you are just looking at the Bollinger Band here, it's still bullish. This is like an extended version of what happened over here. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I can talk about the other miners, but there's just way too many of them. All I have to say is I'm actually impressed by Riot. I think Riot's looking much better now compared to before. Talk about Bitcoin here, because I'm sure people have been kind of freaked out here, because people like to freak out, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Is it scary? When you have a daily candle like today, it can be scary. When it dropped from the top of the daily candle, like went to 102.5K, and it dropped like 5% all the way down to about 97K. Yeah, it can be pretty scary. Putting in the context of the whole thing, though, what are we looking at here as a daily chart? Bollinger Band, so the basis here is going to be the 20-day moving average. You can see how sometimes when trend gets exhausted, it happens, it breaks underneath below. And that's okay, because sometimes it just takes time to kind of break back above and back testing it, right? The 20-day got tired, broke down, have a lot of these really beautiful market structure here. They're actually really bullish. First of all, you end up having a very nice hammer candle over here, followed by a very nice morning star candle formation over here, followed by a little bit of a Adam and Eve bottom over here. This is like an Adam and Eve over here, and this is like another greater Adam and Eve over here. And you broke through, and you're coming back testing it, back testing a little bit over the board here. Why didn't it hold like the 100K over here? Because the 20-day moving average is down here. It was resistance over here. It broke through, back testing as a support, right? That's kind of what technical analysis is supposed to be doing, right? Is the volume bad? It's about the same volume as yesterday. I mean, granted, the day's not over yet. I think majority of the volume is probably done though, because the trading day is over. Yeah, I can come back and back test it. A previous resistance level test support. A little bit negative sloping, so a little bit worrisome. You may not hold. You may end up breaking down underneath of it and then push up higher. And I think that's okay. There's really, like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. Not too scary here. Look at Ichimoku here. Where's Ichimoku here doing? Well, it broke down underneath the Ichimoku cloud over here. Oh no, just like it did over here. Oh yes, right? What is it doing right now? Well, the Tenkan over here, the blue line over here, is $97,069. Again, the great Mansby's favorite number. $97,069, right? It could very well end the day above that. If that ends up doing that, then it's just basically backtesting the Ichimoku cloud and left a little bit of a tampon. I meant a wick down below, and that's okay. There's really nothing too terrible about what's happening, right? If you're talking about the 4-hour chart, the initial idea about Wyckoff, I still think it applies. Sometimes it can overshoot, right? Things can overshoot on a Wyckoff as well, even though this could still be the SOS because it's a higher high. And this is still considered, as far as I'm concerned, if it holds the low over here compared to here, is still considered to be a higher low, right? I cannot be bearish on Bitcoin here. I cannot be bearish on Bitcoin here. I still don't think that it's going to go down to 80,000. And I'm going to stick with that story. The candle over here looks scary, right? Well, it's only been the second trading day of the week, and so far it's an inside candle to that one. Relax. On last month's close, a lot of people are talking about how bearish this candle is. It's inside candle to this big giant green candle over here. And so far for the month of January, we have a bullish engulfing candle here so far. Price looks like it wants to keep riding the upper bullish band on the way up. I am not scared of Bitcoin. Lastly, Jacqueline, I was going to talk about GME anyway. I promise you, I was going to talk about GME anyway. So you really didn't have to give me that that tip there, but I'll take it. I thank you, and I'm gonna like this thing. I can't even anyway. Yeah, okay. I like this. Okay, GME. Honestly, I don't have any updates. There is no update. So again, that $4.99 that you just paid, I'm sorry, there is no update. It's a bullish chart. How can I tell it's a bullish chart? A lot of things. Like I even bought more GME today. I'm very cash poor right now. I end up keep buying it anyway. Why do I end up keep buying it? Because I see a evolving bull trend, kind of like what Tesla has been doing, with the monthly Bollinger Band here expanding and the 20-month moving average flip from resistance here to support it is positive sloping. That's what I generally like to look for to screen for a trend. A lot of people think that this is too simple. You can't just look at one moving average and determine the trend. I say I don't care. I say this is, I don't just look at one indicator, I look at a lot of different indicators. But this is one that generally has worked out really well. And it also depends on the stock too, right? Or crypto too. You can clearly see that 20-month moving average here means something. Resistance, support, Bollinger Band expansion. As the Bollinger Band continue to expand, price can continue to go up. And as price continue to go up, it can continue to expand the Bollinger Band. Why do we get such a harsh rejection over here? Because the Bollinger Band hasn't expanded yet. So it had to come back down and backtest the basis. Backtested it perfectly. And it's getting ready, right? This is why I really started getting more bullish here on GME. Like I didn't even consider starting a position until I saw these like this trident bottom over here. 1, 2, 3, all these breaks over here, touching 20-month moving average. For a long time, I wasn't planning on getting the GME. I'm still not gonna like go all in. I'm just gonna keep it maybe like 1 or 2% of my portfolio. If it ends up growing a lot bigger, then so be it. but so far maybe it's like 1.5% of my portfolio so far. I I'm just gonna let it do its thing because I think that it's developing something that is pretty powerful, and we don't really like. Just look at this. A little bit of volume did this, right? A little bit of volume here did this, right? Can you imagine a lot more volume coming? What is it going to do? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Looking at the NCDX Plus, whales are coming here on the monthly. Whales are like 98% here on the weekly. There's a lot of whalish momentum. It doesn't tell you like, it doesn't mean like 80% of the stocks owned by whales. No, it's more like a whalish momentum. Like these are based on volume, order block size and price action, things like that. Even the weekly is doing the same thing. It's expanding. It's expanding through upside and downside, and price just riding up along the upper Bollinger Band, right? On very little volume. This whole downtrend here is on very little volume, which is what really got me very interested in this stock. This is really purely based on technical as far as I'm concerned. Like I don't follow Ryan Cohen. I don't really follow like Ron Kitty's post or trees, whatever. I just cannot be bearish here. Like this is a very, very nice bull trend. 20 flip over 50, flip over 100 week moving average. I can even pull up the 200 here. 200 is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to make 200 purple. It even reclaimed the 200 here too, right? Very nice bull trend developing. I can pull other things. Ichimoku looks like it wants to go up to $35, $36. I was saying that when price was down here, I was saying it's going to hit up here, and then we'll see what happens, right? And we will see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. If you do a Fibonacci from this local top here in 2024 to the bottom here, we're getting to the 0.5 fit level here, maybe a little bit resistance here around 24, 25 bucks. But honestly, not bad. If I look at the fit level here from a higher time frame, all the way from the all-time high here to the cycle low, you can see a little bit more clearer picture in terms of why you have a hard time maybe breaking out above here a little bit. It's because it's close to 0.5. But you did break above the 0.382 and back test it a little bit. Can it reject and come back down here to 25, 26? That'll be a buying opportunity, right? Do I think it's going to end up happening? Probably not, because the trend is flipping bullish, right? But you're about to hit the cloud resistance here, so we'll see how it reacts. I am a buyer through this range, and I think that something big could be happening because of the whale momentum and because of the Bollinger Band. I'm not necessarily going to count on the cloud being that bad of a resistance. If I look at the higher time frame here on the 2-week chart, if I look at the Ichimoku cloud, it gives you a very different picture. It basically had a little bit of volume here and pushed through to the top of the cloud here, and we basically just back testing it through Ichimoku cloud. We just basically back testing it, and we flipped the Tenkan here from resistance here to support, right? Is there a katana on the monthly? Yes, but that's complicated. Yes, that's complicated. But I think that is flipping the cloud here for resistance support. Could it break down underneath to like 27, backtest the Tenkan here again? Possible, but I don't necessarily want to count on that. I think something more bullish is probably going to end up happening here, maybe in January, maybe in February. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm okay. I might end up just keep accumulating. I think anything between 0.382 here, $26, and 0.5 here, $34, is going to be a pretty decent buy range over here. If you're talking about higher targets in terms of where I think Cyber can meet, some of the higher targets up here at Fibonacci levels could potentially be targets. 1.4 and 4 is a potential target here for me. $339.38. All right, we're going to talk about Doge. Actually, one more question to answer. Is there a katana here on the monthly? The answer is yes, but it's complicated because we're underneath of it right now. Because we're underneath of it right now, the katana is not going to help propel price up higher and make it too parabolic, unless if we end up just breaking above backtest and just go higher and allowing the katana is already like spreading out. The katana is already trying to turn bullish here, but price is still underneath of it, which is frustrating. Anyway, Um, I'm gonna take a quick look at a couple of things here, and I'm gonna go. One is Doge. Somebody asked about Dogecoin, and Dogecoin, I have no update here at all whatsoever, because it is still trying to do what it's trying to do, and I think it's just still consolidating sideways over here as a bull flag. Nothing more, nothing less. This is the monthly here, finding support here to Tengen and Kijun. It's trying to break above the cloud. Once it breaks above the cloud, it's going to go a lot higher. And I also think that that's to be the case too, because once it breaks above the cloud and once it breaks above the 0.786 here, it's probably going to moon. But these are the resistance levels here to kind of pay attention to. It's still stuck in the range, but it's higher highs and higher lows. I have literally like nothing else to really talk about it. Just zooming here on the weekly, like how can you be bearish when it's just simply wick down to the 0.618, grab liquidity, and have like a little bit of morning star look to it? Looks like it wants to go higher. I'm not bearish on this, right? Yeah, sorry, I probably gotta go soon. I think Mrs. Cat's looking for me. But I'm not bearish here, so I'm gonna leave that as Dogecoin here. Somebody asked about Nike. I can talk about Nike and talk about Duolingo, and then I'm probably gonna end the show here, Ryan and JC. So I got a can here that I drew. And the can here is true on the monthly, 720 and 1. I got to turn off the volume here, or else it's going to be too much. Do I think that there's a good chance that Nike has bottomed? Yes. Do I think there's a good chance that Nike, even though it's bottomed, that it continues to be dead money for a while? That's certainly a possibility. Why do I think that? Well, it's kind of just hovering. The month's not over. I think it's probably going to end up finding support here at the gain arc. If not, it's fine. Like you break down underneath of it, it's fine, right? There are a few things here I like about Nike. First thing is it touched the low Bollinger here twice, right? Once and twice. Maybe we're close. One thing I didn't like is how the 20-month moving average is just still so negatively sloping. So that's still going to be a little bit of a bearish resistance level here. The other thing to look at would be the RSI. If I can pull up the RSI here, you can see that there is a little bit of bullish momentum here being built up, but not much, right? I think this bear trend is really starting to kind of decelerate. That doesn't necessarily guarantee you're not going to make another lower low. So I'm not necessarily going to buy into Nike, although it's building some bullish divergence here. It could still be dead money here for a little bit, just simply because the 20-month moving average is still a little bit further away and still negatively sloping, right? You see what I'm talking about, right? So it could still potentially be resistance here. That's what I really think about Nike. I don't really know where the bottom is. This is a falling knife. If you want to catch a falling knife, it's tough to catch a falling knife. Do I see capitulation volume here? I see this over here, sure, right? But the volume here is still pretty high, so it's tough for me to know for sure. One last one here, Duolingo, and then I'm gonna go have some dinner making here. Duolingo is a bullish chart. The only problem is whenever things make up to this level up here, whenever things get to like the 1.4 and 4, I'm like, I'm not sure. Like there's some sinister things that can happen whenever it hits like 1.4 and 4 and 1.618. It's still higher highs and higher lows. It could backtest the 1.272 here at $285. It doesn't have to. It could just keep going higher. I think if the sinister stuff has already happened over here, it already came back to the 0.786. So I don't think it has to do that again. If I also look at a Bollinger Band, it's also just very nicely expanding. So I'm not really seeing any warning sign, except that it's a very important fit level, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a top. I'm not seeing any bearish divergence here on the monthly. On the weekly here, I'm not seeing any convincing bearish divergence here either. So overall, the trend still looks healthy. Bollinger support band is rising up here. Shall it need further support? You have the Bollinger support band here as support. You have the, if you look at a monthly, it's a little bit overextended from the Tengen, which does get me a little bit worried here. So there's a possibility for it to go down to 1.272. I'm just going to leave it as that, which is not a bad thing. Before it gets there, it does have a couple of support levels here below for it to try and find support. So would I buy Duolingo here? I mean, Technically speaking, I don't like to chase, you know, I like to find opportunities that are a little bit more closer to down here. But would I buy Duolingo? If I was to buy, where would I buy it? I might pay attention to the monthly Tengen down here, $261.77. The 1.272 level over here, you know, $285. Um, and also the Puma support band that's coming up, which can potentially serve as support, which is going to be closer to around 300. Those are probably like the levels that we're probably not scaling in. Could things break down a lot a lot lower? Sure, it can. It can even backtest this horizontal zone over here around 250, but it doesn't have to. Right, all in, not on a parabolic bull trend that looks like this. So anyway, I'm gonna drink some water, make some dinner, and then I'm gonna join the triumvirate tonight with the great Massey, the Tesla tracker. At 7:30 Eastern, we're gonna have two special guests, the real blonde broker, as well as Heidi. So we got two guys, two gals, and a cat. If you guys want to subscribe to the Triumvirate channel or just pay attention to it on X, I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.